Coming up on Tech News today, the social networking wars kick into high gear. Google Plus opens up to everybody. Facebook fires back with a newsfeed tweak. And Nvidia says, forget social networking, 5 cores, yo!
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Tuesday, September 20th, 2011. Happy anniversary, Eileen. Tech News Today is brought to you by Slingbox, which just turned your iPad into a television. Slingbox has a new iPad app, so now you can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it. Check it out at Best Buy or slingbox.com. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Iyaz Akhtar.
And I'm Jason Howell.
And you're Patrick Norton.
I wasn't sure if I should speak or not.
Well, yeah, I know. Usually when we have the guest on Skype, we wait until after we introduce everybody, and then we introduce the guest on Skype. But you're here in the studio with us. So you're in the nether region.
No, I'm in the studio.
I take that
Definitely
back.
not there. I'm not in the nether regions. I'm at the table. My hands are above the table.
Handshake.
Happy anniversary, Eileen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know who she's married to, but just thought it was
Some Yahoo, I bet.
Happy anniversary. Yeah.
Some Texan.
Some dumb
You guys are having an anniversary?
Nether region. Huh?
You guys are having an anniversary?
Yes, it is.
This
my
is especially appropriate.
bronze anniversary.
Well, let's make sure the show is extra special.
Yes.
For
bronze
Eileen.
she
Can cherish it forever.
I'd appreciate that. I'm going to bronze
In
this
lieu of
episode.
jewelry, Tom will give Eileen the best TNT episode ever.
The Golden Master Edition.
If you've just become married in the studio audience, please do not...
Don't follow Tom's lead.
Yeah. Tom's,
No, I'm taking her to the Iron Chef's restaurant on Thursday.
And that was a surprise until right now.
No, it wasn't.
Obviously not.
Let's start off with Google Plus moving to beta, which actually means they're opening it up. They are making it available for anyone to sign up. So if you are wanting to get into Google Plus and you haven't been able to get a sign up, this is the way to go. Go try it out. You just go to google.com/plus,
the actual
sign.
symbol.
You can go to plus.google.com and that'll work too, right?
And the URL they showed at the actual post on the Google blog, it had the plus symbol. So I'm not sure /plus works.
They also added some more features. They added search. So now, before you could just search for names, now you can actually search for particular things. They also added new Hangout apps. You can hang out on the phone app for Android 2.3. You can broadcast Hangouts and allow others to watch, although that's going to be limited to the beginning. Probably just a Scoble would be my guess.
I'm still terrified by the shark that just wandered over my shoulder.
A shark swimming around in the air in the studio right now.
Yeah.
And the Google Hangout
I don't know if we can...
I don't know what that has to do
really
with Google Hangout.
completely unrelated to the shark is the fact that the Google Plus Hangout API is going to be available. So if people want to make applications, eventually they can. And the other thing is that Google.
The thing is, nobody can see the shark, so they only hear everyone laughing.
They just hear the audio listeners. Yeah, there's a shark floating around.
Though there really is a giant shark. And on audio, you're not going to be able to see it.
Punch the shark!
I don't want the shark.
That's actually the proper way to deal with it. You hit it in the nose.
Whack it in the nose.
And it swims away.
I'm still actually, the thing that got me about this story was that it was actually not open to everyone already. I had no idea there actually were still any restrictions.
Well, it was so darn easy to get an invite at this
Yeah.
point. There wasn't much keeping you away. So the new Hangout stuff, has that got anybody excited? You can do screen sharing, you can do sketchpads, you can do docs.
And you could now, I think you can do Hangouts with people on the phone now, on Android only right now.
Yeah,
iOS,
Android
iOS
2.3 or newer.
Has anyone here ever participated in a Hangout outside of researching for work?
I have.
Okay, that's one.
It's very
Yes,
awkward.
I have.
Two.
I
More than
have,
once?
but only once.
Right.
I thought I was going to, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I did it once in college, but I was just experimenting.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like Hangouts, I love the idea of being able to hang out and then have other people listen in type of a thing, like a broadcast. And maybe that will get people interested in Hangouts again. But when Google Plus, in the first, I would say, few weeks, my stream was just full of people hanging out with other people, and it was like, it almost got annoying after a while. I was like, I'd like to just kind of hide these.
Obviously, it means you want to watch someone else's hangout.
Well, I actually probably don't. Most cases.
Very first on-air hangout will be with Will I Am on Wednesday night, tomorrow night, September 21st.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna watch? You're gonna watch the first broadcast
What makes you think I won't be
hangout?
one of his special 9, Tom?
That's true, actually. Are you holding out on us? Have you been invited?
Will I Am and I have never met, but I think he'll like me a lot.
I think so too.
When we do.
Google also starting to open up the API to third-party developers so that they can do stuff with Hangout. And make third-party apps.
That I'm actually kind of curious to see what it turns into, because I don't know. It's kind of like everybody talks about APIs, and sometimes somebody releases an API and really cool stuff happens, and I think this is one of those cases. I don't know about Hangouts, but
yeah,
other stuff.
I don't know how often are you on your phone? You're like, oh, somebody's hanging out. I want to hang out right now as I hold this thing up to my face.
That's the thing. Like, I actually had a guy send me a Hangout request the other evening, and it was somebody I would have wanted to hang out with. Who's like, oh, I would like to talk to this person. I never get to see them, but I was in the middle of something. Yeah. By the time I was done, and was like, oh, let's see if his hangout was over.
What you want is a scheduled meeting, not a hangout. This is an informal social networking
just an old
thing,
fogey,
right? Just
yeah.
Hang out.
All right, let's get to the real news of the day. HTC had their phone announcement during Fashion Week, and it's not called the Bliss. It's called the Rhyme.
But it is what the Bliss was known.
Yes. It is the Bliss.
Today.
But do you like the
Wait,
new
is
name
this
better?
the phone formerly known as the Bliss?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I don't think it is very blissful. So sure, call it the Rhyme. I don't really get that either. I don't know what it rhymes with.
The specs aren't that big. 3.7-inch WVGA Super LCD display, 1 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, 768 megabytes of RAM, 5 megapixel rear camera, front-facing shooter. I mean, this is all about the fact that it's plum-colored and it has a charm.
Well,
an LED-infused charm.
CES 2011, this would have been a big announcement. Now it's basically a mid-range or mid-level phone. It's it's a nicer phone. It's not too expensive,
but it's plum-colored.
See, this is sort of
lavender.
It's just annoying. It's like, I get that electronics are marketed towards women. It's fine. Like, that doesn't like get me like in a bunch just on its own.
It's not a bad phone.
But it's
You're
like
right,
it's a certain color. Okay, well, I don't see why that color is so womanly. And then there's just there's the charm that you can plug into the microphone jack, so that if you're getting a message or a phone call and your sound is off, you can like find it in your purse, which I will say is something that is actually going to come in quite handy if I had something like this for my phone. But it's a little bit like, really, that's why it's marketed towards women, so you could find it in a purse, and it's a plum color?
This also smells like...
And it's $199.99.
Because women are cheap?
Yeah.
Okay, that's true too.
Comes to Verizon September 29th. Pre-orders start on the 22nd. There's supposedly a silver version coming to Europe and Asia in October, and Europe may get a sand-colored one called the Hourglass. We'll see about that.
Come on.
They're not going to call
the
it Coyote.
Hourglass?
What's wrong with that?
What about the apple bottom?
It's shaped like an hourglass.
The pear.
Actually, it's not shaped like an hourglass at all.
That'd be like the worst touchscreen ever if it's shaped like an hourglass.
But it's sand-colored. Hence the name.
At this point, this is just another Android phone. Don't you have to do something to make it different? If everything is shaped like a black, rounded rectangle, okay, and it's got the same kind of specs. This has mid-range specs with a single-core processor and a little bit of RAM. It's 768 megabytes. I mean, you have to do something to differentiate yourself at this point, even though this is silly, and we're mocking the fact that it's a purple plum-colored phone. Purple is, a royal color. Or NYU graduates, purple. I don't know. Is the word purple?
Pace University.
But you've heard of NYU, its place.
The scruffy cheap kids from the lower
Orange and blue, baby.
What I'm getting at is, though, like, don't you have to do anything at this point to try to make your Android phone stand out? Because
at this point, you walk into, like, insert name of carrier here. There's 32 Android phones. 20 of them have similar specs. They're all black. They're all sitting on a shelf. Sure, I can see where they might think they get market share out of this. Or maybe they were just really bored. Or this is one of those things they came up for, where they knew they're going to sell 1 million of these in Japan, and they may as well release it to the rest of the world.
I could see this being a lot more insulting if they'd, like, changed Sense UI to be more feminine somehow. Like, if it was, like, all pink and
well, they
like,
made the clock different. It's not as big.
It's not as... Because women have better eyesight.
They tweaked that part of Sense UI, yeah.
Wait, so any more carrots? I don't know. It's just... Whatever.
You know what they need?
HTC Rhyme.
They need 5 cores. That's what they need.
Instead of this one.
The Nvidia Cal-L has a 5th core that'll be used for low-power computing. Now, we wanted quad-core devices from Nvidia by August, but we didn't get them. And so instead,
we got an announcement.
We're getting an announcement that, don't worry, by the end of this year, we'll have quad-core devices that have a 5th core, a pentacore device.
I keep looking at this and I'm thinking this is either going to be genius or they're having tremendous fab issues and they haven't gotten the parts to tape out yet.
I think it's genius. So the 5th core is a lower power core. It's 500 megahertz core, and the idea is that one works when nothing else is on. When it's just checking email and receiving updates, it uses that core so it doesn't draw on the battery as much. The other 4 cores can also be turned on individually, so you only need to use as many cores as the processes that you're using at the time demand.
That's pretty standard for portable power management at this point. You shut down the cores and any features you're not using at that specific moment in the CPU or the chipset. The idea of a companion core, I like the chart on from the presentation. Background tasks, audio, video, email, sync, social media syncs, etc. Where it's basically just one low power core, sits in the back, does nothing. I still though the only reason they're revealing this is because they don't have the parts they promised to be here this summer. Where are our parts?
Yeah, that is the question, right? It's nice, and this companion core is off when the other cores are on, and vice versa. I love the idea of it, but I wanted to see the devices that were going to have this in it already. Well,
especially because at the CES when Nvidia came out, it was really weird because they basically came out and said the GPU market is almost dead, but ARM is the future, and we're going to be all ARM all the time, except for the GPU stuff we're still doing until we're all ARM all the time. And now it's like, great, I'm excited, but I want to see a physical sample. I want to see working models.
The pentacore processor is due by the end of 2011 now.
Okay.
So they're still promising it this year.
Yeah, well, August came and went, didn't it, Nvidia? I don't have a lot of faith.
Wasn't this supposed to be a quad-core tablet that was supposed to be going out to all the build developers? That was not the case. This was the rumored one for a while. Remember this? This was
I've forgotten all about that. You're right.
Then Samsung's like, oh, here's our piece of...
Nvidia's like, yeah, we can't do that. We got nothing. Sorry. We're working on adding a
It's smelling a little bit like Tegra to me right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is really harsh, actually.
That is really hard.
Tegra 2, though, or Tegra?
No,
well,
Tegra,
Tegra 1 nearly took out Boxy, like the Boxy box.
That's right.
Well, it did take out the Boxy box launch, and they completely lost a massive window and a lot of hype and a lot of lead while they basically rebuilt their machine a second time around parts that would actually do 1080p video. And it's like, these are insanely complicated processors. NVIDIA is one of the best companies in the world at designing and shipping insanely complicated processors. But man, they're just, I want them to hit some delivery dates. That's critical for getting design wins and actually being around in 5 years.
Let's take a quick break and thank our sponsors at Slingbox. Just in time for the holidays. The holidays are coming faster and faster, NVIDIA. And just in time for the holidays, Slingbox introduces the new iPad app. You can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it. You take your Slingbox, you plug it into the internet. You plug it into your TV. How many times do I have to tell you people? It's easy. It's really simple. In fact, I was talking to a guy on email earlier today who was emailing Frame Rate saying, look, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to put a Slingbox down in my basement where there's a television that doesn't get used that often, and then have another device, maybe like a Logitech Review or something, hooked up so that I can use the Slingbox in-browser app to watch the television from down in the basement in my room. Because he didn't want to have to run the cables and stuff up there. So he's using Slingbox for in-home use, but he can also put it on his Android phone. He can put it on an iPad, and then he can watch anything that's in that basement television anywhere he is in the world as long as he has an internet connection. You can find Slingbox or see a demo at Best Buy or check it out at slingbox.com. Slingbox in your home TV, now appearing on iPads everywhere. Well, Google Plus decided that they would try to take a little wind out of the Facebook sales because Facebook F8 conference is Thursday.
It's on a boat.
So Facebook...
Sailboat.
Yes, that's right. That's why they had to take the wind out of those sales. Facebook said, screw you, Google Plus. We're going to make our own announcement.
We're just going to announce everything before Thursday.
Apparently. They launched a change to the news feed today that is being described as somewhat more magazine-like. So your current options, which are most recent and top news, will disappear. And instead, you'll see a news feed that has the most important items since the last time you visited. So if you visit every day, you'll see the most important items over the past day. If you visit every couple of months, you'll see the most important items over the last month. I don't know how they determine most important. It's some sort of algorithm,
apparently it depends on how often you're refreshing the news feed. So it's like if I was visiting every 30 seconds, it's pretty much every single thing.
Right, but how do they determine what's most important?
That is what I don't understand.
Probably similar to
the common friends you have with a person or how much you interact with them on their profile. I'm sure that's all factored in.
It's all the algorithm. Well, I think of like Tech Meme, and Tech Meme is basically this they look at how many people are dogpiling on a story, and then they feed other things into it. But yeah, I can totally see, like, what are your friends watching? What are they reading? What are they revisiting? What are they following? I also thought it was really cruel that along with everybody else, apparently Dig announced today that they were doing news pages too.
Bad timing right there. But didn't Facebook introduce that smart list feature? So wouldn't they possibly draw from that, like, important friends?
Well, yeah, it's the same. I'm assuming it's the same technology that powers it now. It's just It's
just now you're just seeing those posts first instead of seeing.
Right. Well, right now you can do top news. So I assume that this is the same algorithm that does top news, except it's using the time period since your last view of that page to determine what goes in there. There's an alternate view, if you want to see most recent, that will scroll everything that's happening in real time in a sidebar. So that you
can, like the news river.
Yeah, so you're not
Facebook.
losing top news and most recent. They're being presented in a different way.
It's also, you can also, once you have somebody as a friend on an individual basis, which is kind of a pain if you have a lot of friends, decide, I want to see everything from this person. I only want to know general stuff, like if they change a job or, get married or sort of thing, or somewhere in between. So it sounds like you can customize this quite a bit, but this is one of these Facebook issues that people have when you have too many choices, and then everyone gets overwhelmed and just gets mad.
Yeah, well, and they took away the way it works now, where you had a choice of which two things to see, and now they just show you both.
Why? I mean, why would they do? I mean, I think it was kind of funny. Like, I think it was Liz Gans at All Things D. Yet again, Facebook is redesigning a core feature and taking away options users have come to expect. Like, is that just the Facebook way?
Yes, apparently that is what they do.
Since I'm only on Facebook like once every 3 or 4 months, and it always looks weird and different and makes no sense.
And I'm always like, what are my options here? I'm just going to start clicking around through privacy and just see what comes out, because I have no idea.
Why are all these people at my house?
I feel like Facebook wants things to go a certain way, and if people get upset enough, then sometimes they come back like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then they'll just go 2 steps forward again and see if no one cares anymore.
So it's like
because they still have that vision.
They're like a kid going to the cookie jar, like, no, don't go.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
maybe you want to look over there.
Is there going to be enough people upset about this that they're going to go backwards, or like do people even?
Nah,
well,
I don't even
think
have.
So. It's still
Probably
going out, so I mean, I have to see what it looks like
this
before
one
I
won't
get all up in
inflame
arms.
people the way privacy options and all that stuff does. There'll be people bitch, but they won't change their mind, I don't think. On a side note, Wall Street Journal launched a Facebook edition called WSJ Social. It'll be free for its first month of life. After that, it'll go to its normal paywall, where some of the content will be free, but some of it will require you to be a subscriber and log in. It's also a very different look at the Wall Street Journal. They say, look, we want to be everywhere people are looking for news, so we're launching this thing on Facebook because there's a lot of people there, which makes sense. But it also changes the way Wall Street Journal appears. It looks very, I don't know, not shallow, but
it's grid-ish.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of tiles. I'm kind of surprised.
Clipboard-ish.
I'm surprised why they would do this with the Wall Street Journal brand instead of something like the Daily, which is just kind of sitting around on tablets. Like Wall Street Journal is like
sitting
a serious,
around not being read.
Maybe because people are actually reading the Journal versus the Daily.
There's an idea.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I mean, the Daily may be really popular.
Somebody in one of these stories I read, I can't remember if it was All Things D or not, said the captains of industry do not want to be friends with people on Facebook. It seems like a weird place to target. You think Wall Street Journal would have a LinkedIn edition or something like that?
I don't know. I watched somebody spend $100 million to create a cable channel program that nobody actually wanted to watch. So
the Layoff Network?
No, a subset of the Layoff Network.
All right, let's move on to Google publishing some technical guidance to help devs prepare for Ice Cream Sandwich. Eric Schmidt had said we'll see Ice Cream Sandwich in October or November, so we're expecting it still sometime soon this fall. This indicates that they're moving forward to it. The reason they want to give technical guidance so far in advance of releasing it is to show how things like the nav bar will transition from the small screen to the big screen. Because don't forget, Ice Cream Sandwich will work on phones and tablets instead of having right now where we have gingerbread for phones and honeycomb for tablets.
No, I was just thinking of all the applications I've had where the only option for using it, the iOS applications on the iPad, was hitting the 2x button in the corner, and then realizing that, just some things don't translate well into being larger and less useful.
Well, yeah, and Google's aware of that, so they're letting the devs know, look, These are the standards of the API you need to adhere to. You need to look at your phone apps, especially right now, but also your tablet apps, and make sure that either you adapt them to work in Ice Cream Sandwich so that those navigation bars and everything make sense. Because when you put the navigation bar on a tablet, it's across the top. When you move that app to a phone, all of a sudden the navigation bar becomes a few squares down at the bottom.
The really cruel paragraph in that Ars Technica article you linked in the show notes. Another challenge is a large body of legacy devices that aren't going to be updated to Ice Cream Sandwich. Developers who want to reach the largest possible audience are basically going to have to, you know, figure out how to split the difference between the old ones that don't have the new API support, the new API support, or splitting the code base. I mean,
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you're going to have to do a lot of managing with your apps right now, and that and that will go away in a year after Ice Cream Sandwich has, you know, penetrated into the large percentage of the Android audience. But the moment it launches, you're going to have to tweak your app to make sure it works in both the phone and the tablet interface, because every app will be able to be run in those. And if they're broken, it's not going to look good for you. Then you're going to have to make sure that it's backwards compatible to all the people on Gingerbread and Honeycomb who still are not allowed to update because they're on a certain manufacturer or a certain carrier. And Google is actually doing a little bit to help. They've addressed the issue by backporting the Fragments framework and making it available as a static library for older versions of the operating system. So at least they're meeting you halfway, saying, hey, we'll give you a few more tools so that they do run better on those older operating systems.
So like an Ice Cream Sandwich, it's kind of messy a little bit. It's going to be a messy transition for a while.
There'll be some drips.
Yeah, exactly. And so for a while, I'm like, this is really good for the future of Android. Because
but once you're done and washed your hands, you'll be satisfied.
Exactly. Wash your hands with the old
might have a
gingerbread.
stomach ache.
But the point is
Don't
that
eat it too fast.
And a cavity.
Honeycomb had so few applications, and the tablet edition, to actually, for Google to give some kind of guidance, maybe there's some more consistency from app to app to app. You go, okay, I understand how this is supposed to work, and then the future of Android is going to be a lot better, because now you can go, okay, well, that app's going to work on both things. And besides, Android users, I'm wondering about Jason. Do they switch up phones, or do they stick to their one old Droid forever? What's the usual Android person?
I hate you, Iyaz. Yes, I have a long, far outdated phone. I don't know. You know what?
But his children
you know what it is? It's paralysis of choice.
Yeah.
There's so much choice that you can't make a move. So
do you know there's a purple Android phone now?
I heard about that one.
It has a charm.
It's got that little purse charm that I'm kind of excited.
It's not really for you.
It can be a
Jason.
Merce charm.
Maybe your daughter.
In a dark area, a little glowing.
Don't be sexist, Sarah.
I'm sorry, Tom.
Finally, Apple has updated Final Cut Pro. Now, the only reason we're talking about this is so many people were angry about Final Cut Pro 10 that they're actually treating this update as by way of apology. They're trying to sway critics back towards their side. The update grants all users a free demo version of the software to try it out for 30 days. So as a way of saying, look, just try it out. No risk, free. Try it out for 30 days. See if you like what we've done with it. They've instated XSAN and rich XML import and export, which were not available at launch. They did say it was coming. It now has come. They've added something called media stems, which allow users to export media elements into separate files for things like effects and dialogue and so on. That was a big request. And something called roles, which lets users tag tracks and other media based on the stems they plan to export to. So Jason, Iyaz, you guys were two of the people who were concerned with Final Cut Pro's 10's deficiencies. How do you feel about these overtures to sway you back?
You know, I feel like they're going in the right direction. They're listening to kind of the needs of the professional video editors.
Well, they're also watching what Premiere sales rise.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
as if they're like, this is out of the goodness of our hearts. They kind of have to.
I think this possibly bodes well for the future, but I think it's going to be a couple of years before they actually get that laundry list down to a size where those people that are jumping ship or considering jumping ship are actually going to consider coming back. And I think they will consider coming back once they get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, there are also larger issues. There are a lot of shops, case in point, Revision 3, where we have an XSAN network in place. Apple's completely walked away from the enterprise market. They've completely cut off a large user base that heavily invested. So a lot of people are like, screw you, Apple. We're done.
It definitely reminds me of what they did with iMovie when they redid that thing. They're like, hey, we have a brand new interface. And everyone was like, what is this? They have no idea.
I think that was iMovie 6. And it was
I think 6 was the
unusable.
last one. But either way, the Apple slowly they brought back some of the features that were missing, but they never went 100% back. We still had that weird interface, and they've used a lot of the same metaphors in Final Cut Pro 10.
They took that incredibly unpopular iMovie interface and added it to Final
And that's
Cut.
why people call this iMovie Pro a lot. But the thing is, I mean, I think they're going to still win people with that price. $300 is still very cheap. Getting the upgrade, if you had 10.0 for whatever reason, if you bought it, it's free. I mean, so it's very easy to do an upgrade if you want it. But I mean, I think they've probably lost a whole lot of people right away, because once they said, look, we're drawing this line in the sand, I mean, Apple does that a lot of times, people make a decision. I mean, and Adobe stuff is not half bad. And Adobe ran all its promotions. Half off. Go nuts with that.
All right, let's move on to the news fuse. Researchers have discovered a problem in SSL that allows attackers to silently decrypt data that's passing between a web server and an end-user browser. Full disclosure is scheduled for Friday, September 23rd at the Eco Party conference. The weakness only affects SSL 2.0 and TLS 1.0. However, there's still a lot of web servers out there that accept SSL 2 and haven't upgraded from TLS 1.1. The practicality of the attack remains to be seen. You can find out more at Kaspersky's blog.
HP has confirmed it is currently laying off a number of people in its WebOS General Business Unit, which was once called PALM. All Things T reports that as many as 525 employees will be let go. That's a lot. If you've been under a rock, this is related to HP deciding to no longer produce WebOS hardware. So not a
They're doing what?
Yes. Iyaz, get up from under that rock. Come on, you got a show to do.
Okay.
Yeah, so we knew that this was probably going to happen, but now we have a little bit more information that it's quite a few people.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
And Gadget Reports commercials teasing a new personalized wireless network launching September 26th are from Cellular South, a company that recently purchased several Southern Cell shops. Cellular South has 870,000 subscribers in Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida, and also made news by filing a complaint in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, stating that the whole proposed AT&T T-Mobile merger would violate the Clayton Antitrust Act.
After being hacked, certificate authority DigiNotar has declared bankruptcy. This has not been good for them. Global Sign seems to have weathered this better. Vasco Data, DigiNotar's parent company, announced the news, but made clear to investors that Vasco's core business would continue even though DigiNotar will be liquidated.
Is this to just stave off any lawsuits that would be coming towards DigiNotar? Like, we're bankrupt.
Oh, no,
interesting.
they can still be sued.
Yeah, they could still be. Well, and
Because
Vasco,
they've got the parent company.
Vasco Data could still be.
Even
sued.
if they were their own individual
Can I
company.
get cheap certificates in the going out of business sale?
Everything, let's go.
I don't think you want them.
Slightly damaged.
I think certificates are
Slightly
pretty
fraudulent.
portable, and I think a lot of people just went, you know what? You know, you're supposed to guarantee my security. You got hacked. Goodbye.
Well, yeah, and all the browsers blocked to DigiNotar, and I think they realized the amount of work it would take to get them back.
They're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Google and Visa have already struck a deal where Google will now license Visa's NFC technology called PayWave, which means that Google Wallet users will be able to link their Visa credit cards or their debit cards. Google Wallet launched yesterday with support only for MasterCard's PayPass. Okay, so now we have PayPass and PayWave. So maybe by the time Google Wallet is available everywhere, Google will have deals with every credit card company, like Discover
M&M Mars has
and Amex.
introduced Payday.
Oh,
It's all in your wallet, so you don't even worry about what they're called and their stupid jokes. Samsung news, and we promise it's not a lawsuit. Samsung will make its Bada OS an open source platform. The news was reported by the Wall Street Journal, citing the ever talkative person familiar with the situation.
Person familiar with the matter, people familiar with the matter.com.
Yeah, exactly. Considering the legal trouble many companies have had with Android, it might be a smart move for Samsung to bolster its own operating system.
Hey, how many of you are Instagrammers out there?
Me.
Rejoice! Instagram 2.0 just got released.
Whee!
New filters.
That's you rejoicing?
Yes.
New UI.
Yes. True.
But the big news is larger images are now supported. Instagram used to post photos at a measly 612 by 612. With 2.0, images can be as large as 1936 by 1936.
Yeah, and they save
Two
back to
great
your
years.
camera roll. And with IFTTT now, you can actually send your pictures to Dropbox.
So they're printable.
Only available for iOS 4.2.1, though. Still no Android version.
Way back in April, Amazon told the world that the Kindle would be able to borrow books from libraries in the United States. And now it's finally live in beta in Seattle. Overdrive will be powering the actual lending process, which could have been easier if Amazon was using the EPUB format instead of its own AZW format. But Amazon likes to do things Amazon's way, so
This is like the only place where Sony is leading in open formats, because the Sony Reader has worked,
Yeah.
it's so funny to watch. Like, really, Amazon?
I checked out an EPUB on Overdrive just this week, and it won't let me see the bottom of the pages in the Overdrive app. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know if it's a bad format or what, but it's very frustrating.
I mean,
Maybe
need
they want you to
Overdrive
go to the library.
Overdrive Extreme. Good news for home theater people. Logitech is bringing its Harmony Universal Remote Control know-how to iOS and Android.
Yes.
The free
that's
Harmony
pretty cool.
app will work in conjunction with Logitech's $100 Harmony Link device, which turns your Wi-Fi input into IR commands for your home theater components. The app will have access to television guide data thanks to a partnership with Rovi, and the Harmony Link won't ship till October, but Logitech is taking pre-orders now. So, like, if you want to hook it up and put it behind a closed cabinet, it's all.
I'm excited.
Let's move on to our randomizer story.
Randomizer.
In our continuing coverage of the Netflix Quickster Twitter debate, we go to our Quickster correspondent, Sarah Lane.
Thank you, Tom. According to Steve Swayze, who's the VP of Netflix Corporate Communications, the company isn't actually thinking about marketing for Quickster, which makes one wonder who Jason Castillo, a.k.a. @Quickster on Twitter, is talking to when he's replying to people.
Saying, yeah, I'm going to make some
yeah.
bank.
Now,
Yo.
between this morning and the airing of this broadcast, he has deleted many of his tweets, but I have saved one
really?
in question. Tweets such as, man, so much to plan, to deal with, so much negotiation, and I want a plan where I still have to be part of it and still be making bank. So Quickster's thinking about money, but apparently Netflix isn't offering any.
And then there's multiple Quickster accounts now.
Yes.
What's up with that?
Yeah, Quickster, there's a...
Son, you ain't going to make me like you if you are trying to copy my name, for example, @Quickster2 fake. I don't know if I can say that last word on a... Yeah.
Fudge.
Yeah, Quickster, Quickster 2 is the first official Quickster imposter with the avatar of Bert and Ernie. Quickster also has a Quickster 4, and Quickster 5 is impersonating Quickster's agent.
Nice.
That's correct. And
like
that's
that.
avatar of Oscar the Grouch. I figure Quickster's got, what, like maybe 40 more hours before we forget that he ever existed?
Yeah, I think we'll do continuing coverage of Quickster for the next 48
now,
hours.
he's gained, 11,000 followers on Twitter in the last 2 days.
Also, when you say Quickster, there's a 50% chance that people will think of Jason Castillo instead of the new DVD service
That
from
is true.
Netflix. Yeah.
In the short term.
Right.
This may be the best thing that happened to Reed Hastings all week.
Yeah, it's like, Quickster, oh, that Twitter guy? Whatever.
Love him. Pay attention to him. Let's check the calendar.
Battlefield 3 open beta is beginning on September 29th. If you've pre-ordered the game via Origin, or if you own the Tier 1 edition of Medal of Honor, you get it 2 days early. You'll be emailed with instructions telling you how to access the closed beta. On the PlayStation 3, the beta is also coming 2 days early on September 27th, and it will end on October 10th. So get ready. AT&T and the T-Mobile merger hearing is set for 2 p.m. tomorrow. It's Wednesday, September 21st in D.C., where all parties shall be prepared to discuss the prospects for settlement. This, of course, is the next step in the DOJ suing to block this merger. Also tomorrow, the 21st, the Senate Judiciary Committee Subcommittee on Antitrust, Competition Policy, and Consumer Rights will hold antitrust-related hearings on Google titled The Power of Google, Serving Customers or Threatening Competition.
Wow, it's like a PBS documentary.
Will be testifying on Google's behalf. Yeah, or a dissertation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, a reminder that our Facebook F8 coverage will be live this Thursday starting at 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll go for an hour and we'll go right into Windows Weekly. So please join us.
Time to check what's incoming. First in our voicemail box, we have a voicemail about Quickster, the DVD service, not the Twitter star.
Hello, this is Dorian from Oakland, California. I wanted to share my reaction to the Quickster spin-off from Netflix. I, for one, am very excited as a GameFly subscriber where their games usually take a week or more to turn around and give me a new one. I'm hoping that Netflix common day turnover is spread into their new video games division with Quickster so I can stop waiting impatiently for my GameFly games to come in my mailbox. Love the show. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Hi.
I will say that was one smart thing they did was announce the video game addition to the DVD service. That got some people. It got lost, unfortunately, in a lot of the anger over the move, but it got some people like this guy excited.
I'm still amazed. Like last time I checked, there was 14,000 something comments on Reed Hastings' blog post.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think he stopped responding finally.
Yeah.
Vitriol doesn't even begin to, you know, just angry people.
I wonder if Quickster will start doing streaming video games and then spin that out as well.
And just something called like Steam, water vapor.
Well, the whole thing is, folks who have been using the Netflix DVD service for a while have been saying they're artificially holding back so that I don't churn through so many DVDs.
Right.
So that's another. If you're a gamer and you're excited about how Quickster is moving, you obviously would want the same.
Right. Let's check the emails, too. Mark wrote in, said, I have a theory about why Microsoft doesn't want people to sideload apps into the Metro system. We talked about that yesterday. As you said, the apps are HTML5 based and capable of being run in a browser. That's the exact thing they don't want you to do. Apps have and always will be used by OS developers as a way to sell their OS and or hardware. My theory is that Microsoft wants you to only buy Metro apps through their App Store so that you're running them on a Windows machine. If you had the ability to sideload apps, then with the apps being written in HTML5, it would be easy to run them on any other mobile OS platform. If they did want this, then they'd just start a web app store so that anyone could use these apps, but they want you to use Windows 8 and therefore will be doing their best to make sure that their apps can only run on Windows 8. No inside information, just a theory.
I don't buy it.
You know, it's an interesting theory. Because theoretically it's true, but it's a lot harder for HTML5 stuff to run cross-browser and cross-OS than you would expect.
Yeah, and also, I mean, there's nothing to prevent people, unless there are things that HTML5 can access inside of Metro that they can't access through a browser, then all they got to do is modify the application to run in HTML5 in other browsers, and they can sidestep, you know, being required to run inside or sideload through or
and look at the Chrome App Store. Those apps only run in the Chrome browser. I mean, you could try to run them in Firefox, but they just don't run. And they're HTML5. So it's easier said than done. But good.
Open source will save us.
That doesn't mean it's not what Microsoft is thinking.
Got an email from Greg, who's the proud owner of TWiT Brick number 83.
Hey, good job, Greg.
I was on my way to work on set of a 3D feature film shooting here in Toronto when I see the new generation of TTC subway trains pulling into the station. So, of course, I pull out the best camera I have on me, the T-Mobile G Slate in this case, and start rolling 3D video of my super quiet ride north on the Yonge Street line with a stop at Wellesley Station. I think this is an avenue where 3D could actually break through. When people catch amazing images and they happen to be in 3D, people crane their necks and say, hey, what's that 3D thing you got going over there? That's cool. So that's how much of the Joe public would be introduced to 3D in their lives. As more of these cameras out there are 3D capable, people will be shooting even more watchable homemade 3D. What do you guys think?
I think that's an intriguing theory, is that people don't care about 3D TV, but 3D home movies might be where they start to care. And then that could eventually translate into caring about 3D TV in the home. But
well, it's almost like an HDR photo. I mean, do I want like an entire film in HDR? Well, maybe not, but like if I show somebody, oh, that's neat. How'd you do that? That's a cool trick.
This depends if you can actually see the 3D without glasses, right? Otherwise, oh, what's that over your shoulder? You're looking over there. Just all this blurry image because it's two images at once.
Right.
If you have a proper screen that you can display 3D to the point where you don't need glasses, maybe then it'd start picking up. But it's not like you're going to gather around, put your glasses on. You brought them along, didn't you? You brought your glasses too? Oh, good. Let's make sure we sync them to this. That's not going to happen.
Right.
I don't know. I still think it's fascinating that you can upload 3D video to YouTube. You can use YouTube as a distribution for 3D video. But yeah, it's like outside of a friend of mine who's an analyst he basically saw his first college football game in 3D, and he's like, this is the reason for 3D. Screw Avatar. It's all about college sports, or it's all about sports. I'm still heavily unsold on 3D.
3D pictures of your kids, though. Not pictures, but video of your kids.
Just like the little GIF viewers.
That should make a comeback.
By the way, I've been corrected. In Toronto, Yonge Street is actually Young Street.
Young.
Thank you, chat.
There you go. That's how they spell it up there.
Yeah.
The land of maple syrup. All right, thanks to everybody who submits stories on our Reddit, technewstoday.reddit.com. Really helps us figure out what we want to talk about each day. Big thanks to TM204, Sky Jedi, CompFixer87, Canuck, iSting, MartJNL, and more who submitted stories. And I apologize for mangling your usernames, but we do appreciate your submissions. technewstoday.reddit.com. Patrick Norton, great to have you along. Thanks for coming all the way up here and being in the studio.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Let folks know about TechZilla and where they can find it.
Roger Chang on tomorrow. Revision3.com/Techzilla or Techzilla.com. TEKZILLA. Since I actually get emails from viewers that spell like TECH, which I find highly amusing. But building a Hackintosh in tomorrow's show.
Oh, excellent.
We have our full-on Hackintosh action. So
check it. Love that. All right, that's it for this episode of TNT. Thanks, everybody, for watching. TWiT.tv/TNT is the place to find us on the web. You can email us, TNT@TWiT.tv, and give us a call. Our Google Voice number is 260-TNT-SHOW. We got Peter Ha joining us on the show tomorrow. We'll see you then.